Open Book of. In this episode of Open Book, we present to you the recorded interview with actress Karen Gillan. You may know the Scottish actress and filmmaker in films such as Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Jumanji Next Level, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers Endgame, Doctor Who, and in many, many more projects. In this interview conducted by June Supanpak, the actress talked about the film she directed and acted on called The Party's Just Beginning, her other movies and projects, her love of horror films, and a whole lot more. So, stay tuned and enjoy.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, especially after that nice exhale. That made me just like really relax.
It's really like centering, isn't it? Just to be like,
I need to do that more in my life.
do you feel like you're like a lot of times because you have so much going on?
Yeah, especially right now. There's so much going on, like just with different projects that I've got. But it's really exciting at the same time, you know?
Well, I mean, you've got 3 Jumanjis, right? Like 1, 2, and maybe a 3?
So this is the second one that we've done. Potentially a 3? We're hoping for a 3. I would like a 3.
Yeah. I think we're hoping for a 3,
Good,
really,
thank
too.
you.
Because it's such a fun movie. But obviously other people as well know you from as Nebula.
Yes.
You know, Avengers and obviously Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
And Amy Pond.
Ah, okay, yeah.
Who, of course. I think that's like the traditional fans are like, yeah, she's from
Yeah,
Dr.
the ones that
Who.
know me from that they have a lot of ownership over it. They're like, she's always going to be Amy
Yeah.
Pond. And I'm happy to always be Amy Pond.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
No, I think it's a pretty iconic character. And like with
I liked
all
her
of the
a lot.
characters, you've been able to kind of like put your own stamp on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's pretty fabulous to be able to kind of do that. Like, do you think like with all the chaos that's going on, do you have a way of centering currently to get into the mind frame of all these different characters? Because sometimes they overlap, no?
Yes, they do sometimes overlap. You know, I don't know what exactly my process is in terms of like centering myself and getting into the roles. I think seeing myself in the mirror always kind of like finishes the idea for me. Like I have this idea in my head of who this person's going to be.
Yeah.
And all of these things that I've written down about them and all of their character traits. And then I see myself and I put on the clothes and then I can feel what they feel like and then it just all clicks into place a little bit.
Yeah, so my background is in costume design.
Oh, really?
So,
Okay.
Yeah, and
it's a
actually,
huge part of it.
my first job was at Marvel. Crazy
Really?
enough, yes. My first job was the first Captain America, and so it's really interesting to be able to see my actors and actresses get into character. Like, how big of a role do you think the costumes and the clothes do for you?
A huge role. I mean, as I said, I see myself in the mirror and suddenly I understand this person. Like I find the clothes, especially in the Marvel movies, to be really functional. It tells you a lot. I think by looking at any human being, you can tell a lot about them from the way they're dressed.
Absolutely.
As to who they are or who they want to present themselves as.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting for me to see what my characters look like while looking at myself, and then I sort of, it finishes the process for me. Like I've done a lot of groundwork and broken down the script and analysed the character and all of their actions, and then I see myself or them, and then it just suddenly all makes sense, and that's hugely to do with the costume.
Right. So, like, do you find that when you're doing those roles and you come out and you're, you know, not in blue makeup or doing these very, very intense costumes, like you come out and be yourself here in jeans and this AC/DC shirt?
I know.
It's like,
I love this t-shirt.
Like, is this iconically you? Like,
this says a lot about me.
Yeah?
Because I, first of all, made everyone listen to classic rock during this photo shoot.
Oh.
Sorry.
I don't think anyone had complaints. I have to be
No,
honest.
I feel like it was fun for all. I really like classic rock.
Yeah.
I just love it.
There's something like earthy about it.
Yeah,
You're like, "Ooh,"
and I
just
like
wanna,
to listen to it on the way to like work or to meetings, and I'm like ready to seize the day.
Yeah.
It's like the music of seizing the day.
I mean, so in the trailer, before you go onto the scene, is this what you do? Is like you crank up the music and then you're like, okay, this is the time. Let's get this character.
I don't know if I do that right before. It depends on whether I have time. Usually what happens is everyone's running late and everyone's like, get to set immediately, and
Hurry
there's no
up and
time for
wait.
anything.
Yeah.
So I'm like, get there, action. Okay, it's happening. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, I can imagine that it's been really crazy for you. And on top of that, not only are you acting in so many wonderful movies, like big time movies, but you're also writing and directing.
Yes.
And this has kind of been an evolution of like a new exploration of your personality, I'm assuming, although it's like for people to see. So
Yeah,
what do
it's
you
scary.
think about that? Now that, you know, it was 2018 when The Party's Just Beginning was out, premiered.
Yeah, last year.
So, I mean, it feels like ages ago at this
It
point.
really
right?
does.
Doesn't
Yeah.
it?
Well, I finished the movie so long ago, and I feel like I've just moved on as a filmmaker so much, and I've learned so much, and I've watched so many amazing movies since then,
Right.
that I would just make a totally different film now. So it's kind of funny that you sort of have to live in the past a little bit when you're a filmmaker.
Yeah.
I
I mean, I'm doing this little thing because I'm
What
like,
is the-
oh, what is the next thing, Karen? Tell us. Like, do you know? Do you
I
know
will give
like an
you
idea?
one hint.
Okay.
Horror.
Yes.
Do you like horror films?
I love horror
So do
films.
I. I love them.
Legitimately, it's kind of weird, but like I grew up reading like R.L. Stein and then like Stephen King at 12.
Oh,
so
wow.
it's like
Okay.
I'm like in
At
it.
12.
In it to win it. Yeah.
Wow.
That type of obsession. I like zombies a lot.
I don't mind a zombie.
Yeah. But paranormal, I'm more of a ghost lady. What are you?
I like ghosts. I like, you know, I grew up watching these like cheesy 90s slasher films,
Ooh,
like
yeah.
A Process of Elimination.
Of course.
I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Oh, I love that.
Scream.
Yes.
We're talking those guys.
Oh yeah, totally.
And then I graduated to The Exorcist and The Shining when I was a little bit older.
Yeah.
And The Shining is now my favorite film of all time.
Oh, it's so good.
I love the psychology of the whole thing, and Jack Nicholson is amazing.
And it's also like a pacing thing where you're like,
Yeah, it's a slow burn.
Slow burn.
But you know that when it kicks off, it's really going to, and it's really earned by that point as well.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think we pace things in films a lot differently now because of our attention spans.
Yeah, that's true.
So
That's
it's
a
nice
good
to like
point.
revisit the golden era when we could sit down and watch something for like 3 hours.
Right, and kind of soak it in. But I mean, I feel like with your film, what was really striking and haunting about it was actually the pace, for me at least.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I think you were able to balance a good, like, okay, these are really heavy scenes, and for people who don't know, it's about, you know, suicide. I want you to go into the whole explanation of like, here's the synopsis of it, but ultimately, like, suicide is one of the main themes, and I feel like it can be such a heavy, daunting topic, but the way that you cut it with comedic moments was really a relief, actually, as a watcher, because it's like it's that tense, knuckle gripping type of emotion, and then I found myself tearing up quite often during it.
I'm sorry that it's making me happy that you cried.
No.
I'm like, it worked.
No, I got goosebumps. Like I'm getting goosebumps talking about it now, only because I think it's such an important film for people to watch, and especially in America. I'm looking at the statistics. It says, according to the American Psychological Association, there are 10 to 14 suicides per 100,000 people. And it's the hotlines are so important. Of course, Mikey's line is something that you've talked about openly.
Very important to me, just because it's a text service in the area where the film is set, where I'm from, Inverness, in the top of Scotland, where the suicide rate is really high among young men, much higher than the rest of Scotland or Europe, I think. So their service is incredible, and it's all anonymous. And I think it's helping a lot of people up there, you know, to communicate, especially men who have a harder time conveying their emotions, and they don't want to appear vulnerable or show weakness.
Right, of course.
And I think we all need to work hard to make sure that it's not seen as weakness to express your emotions.
Right, and I think what was really wonderful about the film was that it addresses that like male issue, but you as the lead protagonist, as Lucy, it's like I could feel your desire and your wanting to communicate so badly, and like wanting to connect, and then it's like your parents or whomever, it's like those lost moments that you notice that you're just like, oh, just tell her, just reach
speak.
out, just speak.
Yeah.
What were your thoughts on like trying to get that character involved as well?
I think, you know, so I definitely wanted to tackle the subject matter, because I'd read that statistic and thought that's really strange, because it's a beautiful place to grow up. Why is this happening there? And then I was like, but I want to write my first film from a female perspective, because I am a female. So I was like, this is the way I can tell the story best, is from vaguely my own perspective, hence the character being a young female.
Right.
And then I kind of just drew from inspiration in my own life, but really the main storyline is fictional and based on the statistic. And then there's like little moments of inspiration in all of the supporting roles.
Yeah, I mean, I want everyone to watch it just because like the awareness level that comes from watching it it's potent, you know, because it does hit a lot of like heavy themes. And like for you, was it important to hit a lot of different themes in one movie, or was it just kind of all encompassing when you were creating the characters?
I honestly don't know if I was like even that calculated about it. I just read the statistic, thought I want to tell a story about this thing from my own perspective, and that was about it in terms of the thought processes on the themes.
Because they're very specific, you know what I mean? Like, we're hitting transgender, we're hitting suicide, we're hitting a lot of...
I know, and it wasn't even like, I didn't even set out, I didn't have like a political agenda at all.
Yeah.
It just happened naturally from inspiration from people that I've known or heard about, and I've combined them all of the stories and different characters. So that kind of happened, and also I thought I was making a fairly light film.
Oh my God, girl, are you kidding me?
I know, it's so funny. I know, because I was like, okay, well, we're tackling this heavy subject matter from quite a light standpoint.
Sure.
But that was because at the time when I wrote it, I had been watching so much European cinema that it is light in comparison to Lars von Trier.
No, yes, for sure.
So I was
would agree heavily with that.
Fairly lighthearted. And then,
but yeah, I think that's really wonderful. And, you know, with all the different characters that you have, I mean, even Nebula, she's very kind of like a dark character in so many ways. But then you have that like side comment where it's like, oh yeah, she's the whole audience is laughing because you've brought that like comedic side. So do you think like within you you're tapping into all the different parts of you? Is that part of your personality? Were you like that as a kid?
I would say I like being silly as a person, definitely. And I like injecting characters with humor because no one's just one thing, you know. People are everything. They have their funny moments and their dark moments and their sad moments and elated ones.
We're all complex creatures.
Exactly. And so it's nice to show that in characters for sure. And also, I would say that like people who have faced a lot of adversity in their life can be really humorous because it's a coping mechanism.
Totally.
And so it's kind of nice to use that in my characters as well.
Yeah. So when you're going through difficult times, you know, like, are there any ways that you can channel that in, you know, obviously writing is one way, but are there any other ways that you can kind of like get through
channel like a hard time? I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty positive person and optimistic. So like even when bad things happen, I'll have obviously moments where I feel sad or disappointed or wish that didn't happen. But ultimately all of those moments can lead to good moments if you allow them to and maybe push for them too as well.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, if you're in a point in your life where you're happy, all of the bad moments got you there. And so therefore you have to be grateful for those too. Otherwise you wouldn't be here.
Absolutely. I mean, that's also another way of being able to kind of get through a lot of hard times, like, and teach other people too in a way, because it is, it's like your character, Lucy, she was spiraling almost, you know, and she allowed the spiral to kind of carry her, but there's like a choice that one can make.
Right.
So, I mean, do you think that after this movie, you'll come back to more of a serious theme?
I think it's definitely possible, yeah. I don't really have like a master plan for where I want my directing career or filmmaking career to go. But yeah, I could see myself returning to those sorts of themes. They're pretty interesting to me. The psychology of the whole thing is really interesting to me. So yeah, I think I'll be back.
Okay, so you had mentioned in an interview that you used to do little films as a kid with your parents. So do you think that having your parents be the characters, obviously, in your films and kind of a nurturing source, that was kind of, were they creative? Like, how was it for you growing up?
My dad loved singing and was singing just like 24/7.
Yeah.
And so that's all I remember. That was his creativity. My mum wasn't so much on that side of things, but she loved horror movies. So I kind of got this creative streak from my dad and a love for horror from my mum. And then I was like, I'm going to make horror films as a kid. And I would cast my parents in roles. I would kill my dad, and a therapist would have a field day with that. But honestly, I had such a good relationship with him and still do. And he was just really game to be an actor in the film, you know?
Yeah, I mean, if that's definitely supportive parents, because...
Oh my God, I know. I look back and I'm like, wow, you know, he really gave it his all.
I know people have said this, but I think people would love to see those movies.
I actually have gone on a mission to find my favourite
you
horror
have?
film.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
I just bought this VHS player, but my tapes don't work because they're not American, so I need to find a UK player somewhere.
I didn't even know that
If
there was a
anyone has
difference.
one,
Please
give
out
it
in
to
the
me.
audience, help us, please. So then, with the new movie that's being released, Jumanji: The Next Level, like that's obviously a very wonderful, comedic, like very active character as well.
Yeah.
Like, is that part of the exhaustion? Is not only the mental stuff, but like the physical parts of your job? Like, did you have to go back into martial arts training, or?
Yeah, I have to do a lot of martial arts training actually. And yeah, it can be really physically demanding. After a day of shooting a fight sequence, I am just comatose. Truly, but it's so rewarding as well. I mean, I've never studied martial arts really, so it's this whole new area for me. And I think I'm looking less like spaghetti now.
Is it? You're like, I'm getting some
I'm
muscle
finally
here. Finally
getting
some
there.
buff
You
here.
can probably tell.
I can actually. I can. There's a little bit of something there. But I do think though that, you know, when you are meant to play all these different characters, it can be so draining in your life, and tackling all that and having, you know, relationships that you have to kind of be obligated to
Yeah,
as
you've got
well.
to water those plants
Like,
too.
what's the balance? Like, do you have any advice for the viewers?
Oh, that's a tough one. I think I need someone to give me that advice, to be honest. I just go to work and then I get on FaceTime
Yeah.
and repeat.
It's like a shampoo, rinse, repeat type situation.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. And but I'm taking some time off now,
Oh, okay.
apparently, but not really because
I'm like,
it's being
is this
filled
your time
with...
off? Because we're here together.
Well, this is fun, but I also am doing like loads of meetings and stuff on my time off. But
Yeah.
also it's fun. I like my job. You know, it makes me really happy.
Yeah.
So
Do you ever find that it's difficult to have like, this is my passion, but it's also my job?
I mean, I feel so lucky to have that. Because I wouldn't be able to do something
It's
that I
rare.
wasn't, you know, this much that I didn't feel this passionately about.
Right. So to wrap things up, this is obviously a book of magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So we'd love to know, if you were a book,
Okay.
what book would you be? I know. Bum, bum, bum.
My mind has gone to a really dark place and I don't want to say it.
Oh, no, do it. Do it, do it, do it. Let's do it.
Oh, God. Veronica decides to die.
I mean, how appropriate.
Reread
though.
it. Have you read it?
I haven't. But
Okay.
the title in and of itself says a lot.
Yeah, but I will say that there's a very positive message in there.
Aw,
Like very, about living and what that means.
okay. Well, thank you very much for
Thank
being
you.
here with us. And I'd love to offer up an idea.
Okay,
I'm pretty goofy.
amazing.
Love it. Okay. So if you had like a chair dance, I think it's time for us to do
A
little
chair dance?
And I'll follow in.
Oh, you're going to join?
Yeah,
on
I'm
my
going to
chair
join
dance?
in. We're going to do a chair dance.
Okay. All right, ready?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay.
I'm so glad you asked this. I've been
Do a
waiting
kick.
for someone to ask.
I know.
You know what this is? A dance, but also a tricep workout.
It's also great. And I do sprinkler action as well whenever I feel I
This
need
is
to
a-
loosen up. What do you think?
What's a sprinkler action?
This guy. You don't know this
Oh.
one?
What has that got to do with sprinklers?
Do they not have these in Scotland?
You're talking about grass sprinklers.
Yeah. So you do this
Yeah.
motion, and that's like, this is the little sprinkler, like the water
Okay.
shooting out, and it goes. Am I teaching you something right
You
now?
are. You
Hello,
are.
welcome
I have
to
so
America.
many questions.
This is the sprinkler action.
I do feel like this maybe represents it slightly more.
The new sprinkler action, folks. Brought to you by Karen.
Let's combine.
Okay. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do. And this ends the Soulful Style episode. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for
I was not
humoring
expecting
me.
that. That's funny. Chair dance.
I feel like we needed
You
to
said
loosen
it as
up.
if it was like a really normal thing.